Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another show here at the Film Fanatic headquarters. It is Wednesday at about 10, 7 minutes after 10. So, yeah, hope everyone's doing good. I've been doing a lot of recordings. I haven't uploaded any videos in a little bit. I'm going to probably upload one or two this morning. I've been I've been kind of in the habit basically just kind of recording videos as I go and then, slowly posting them, kind of breaking them up. I've been mostly setting the shows up as premieres. And it's just, I don't know, just to kind of break up the kind of the delivery. Maybe if it don't want things to get too monotonous or like, that feeling of overstaying your welcome. So trying to, bring variety. I've been covering lots of different kinds of movies. I recently went to Goodwill in Rockland and got another handful of movies. Blu-rays. Try to only buy Blu-rays. I did have a pretty big haul of movies a few months ago that was at Goodwill, and I got quite a few DVDs. Which on one hand, I was really happy with the purchases. They were all used, of course, really cheap. But ultimately, it does take up space because my priority for as far as a film fanatic and a collector of movies, my priority is to build up my Blu-ray base as much as I can, particularly in the exploitation world. That has been that's my main focus as far as a collector. I feel like I don't know. It's like I feel like we're in this amazing time period, which we are, as far as being a collector and being able to find so many interesting and bizarre movies. But I also feel like every now and then I get rumblings that it's probably going to go away really soon, and so I, need to get it while it's hot, while it's there, while it's available. So that's kind of how my mind works. But when I go to Goodwill, 90% of the time I will buy, quote unquote Hollywood or more commercial movies. And it's funny, I've maintained that kind of way of shopping for movies for quite a few years now, probably 3 years, 4 years. I usually don't go in. I mean, occasionally I will go to a shop with a plan of a particular album that I want to buy or a particular movie I want to seek out. But generally, I keep it really open. But the one rule I still maintain and I've had for a while is like when I go to Blue Moose, I try to only buy the real. I try to find the most low budget, ex, you know, exploitation trash movie I can find, and that comes along with movies I've seen. Lots of movies I've seen, movies that I grew up with, but then lots probably in more in that column of where discovering tons of movies that I've never seen before. And then when I go to Goodwill, which Goodwill I have found some fantastic movies. When I go to Goodwill, I will typically always buy like the more commercial Hollywood films that I love. I've Probably the thing I'm most proud of with that is I've been able to pretty much complete my collection of my favorite Marvel comic book movies, and I've gotten them all on Blu-ray. So I'm on a mission usually when I go to those places, like a specific kind of a thing. If Goodwill has I've gotten some good, really low budget horror films there. I actually have. I will, obviously scoop them up, and I have actually gotten quite a few. It's it's very sporadic when I come across something like that, but you never know. And sometimes I'm like super surprised. And one of the coolest things, and I haven't done it in a while. It was like in June of this year, but when Opera's Video does their sales, that's really awesome because they do these street sale kind of things. They do it a couple times a year, but they have about 1,000 movies, basically for sale. Blu-rays, DVDs, and I've gotten so much cool shit through that. Like it's crazy. And I'm usually really surprised because I've gotten both like really ultra low budget exploitation movies, and then I've gotten all kinds of, more bigger Hollywood films, action movies, or what have you. So it's just great. But get back to today's show. I'm a firm believer in upgrading movies to 4K or not 4K Blu-ray. I don't have a 4K player. Maybe someday. Kind of reluctant. I think it's from what I've heard, some movies are very much worth buying or seeing in 4K, and more so from a collector standpoint because there is a fundamentally there is a big improvement. But on the other side of the coin, I'm more, I kind of don't want to have to buy another edition of a movie that I already have multiple copies of. If I get a really good quality Blu-ray, I'm pretty happy with it. It's like it's pretty immaculate, and I don't know if there's that much of a difference to go into that area and to do it. Maybe someday I will, but we'll see. I probably will, but not right now. I'm pretty happy with buying Blu-rays, and so, um, but I'm a big fan and firm believer in like a movie that you love. I will definitely seek it out to see if I can get an upgrade, like a movie that I've owned on DVD or even VHS for that matter. I will, if I come across that movie, particularly if it's a movie that is, more of a, I guess, action-driven kind of a film, more of an exciting kind of a film. To see it on Blu-ray makes a big difference. But overall, the quality is superior. So when I went to Bull Moose, when I went to Goodwill last week, I got some pretty cool movies, and one that I'm not very excited about that I bought, and I did not really like it, and that was I did a show on it yesterday. I haven't uploaded it. All Eyes on Me. It's the biopic about Tupac Shakur. I kind of liked that movie when I saw it, but I bought it on Blu-ray. I'd never seen it on Blu-ray before. I rented that movie on DVD when back when it a year or two after it had come out. So check out that review. I had a lot of mixed things about that movie, but I also bought this movie here that I think is just one of the most incredible um, examples of just like pure unadulterated masterful acting, and that is Doubt. I bought this on Blu-ray on Sunday last week. I've had this movie for a while, but on DVD. And this is a drama, but it is the acting and the writing, the direction of this film is so incredibly powerful that it's equivalent to a big action movie, only with words. It's the best way to put it. So I got this upgrade, and it's gorgeous. It looks amazing. This movie is just such a powerhouse. It stars Meryl Streep, Philip Seymour Hoffman, the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Amy Adams. And Meryl Streep, of course, a legend in the world of acting, and of course, the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman, an amazing actor, and it was a very tragic time when he passed away. And of course, I think Amy Adams, one of the best actors in her generation. I think, and again, all three of these actors have been in countless movies. They've all put on so many memorable and incredible performances through their careers. But I kind of feel like this movie here, Doubt, might be the best example or their best acting together individually, but then talk about an ensemble cast. This movie is just incredible. There's like two or three scenes in this movie that are just the acting, every little detail of how how intense the tension is, but the delivery of the dialogue, the body movement. I mean, it's an example of just extraordinary acting. You know, where you have a script that is so tight, so well written, and then it's so brilliantly executed by these, master actors at the top of their game. Just an incredible movie. It has a it's a drama. It's definitely a melodrama. It has a little bit of a thriller element, slightly, but it is, again. I just think that this movie is the best for me. It's the best movie that any of these actors have done overall. And I know that's probably saying a lot. Might be a little bit, to a degree, a stretch, just because how many great films these actors have individually. Um, yeah, an extraordinary movie. I've had this movie. I've had Doubt on DVD for quite a few years. I've seen this movie a ton of times. It came out in 2008 already. It was directed by John Patrick Stanley, who wrote the film and also directed it. And I believe Doubt was originally a play, and he was also the director and creator of that play, and he adapted his own work for the big screen. And this story is really about Philip Seymour Hoffman plays a priest who, and he is under the accusations by Meryl Streep, who is also who works at the same parish that he does, or who is a part of the same parish. She is very much, she is a nun. She's like the lead in this organization at this church. She's the head of the parish, and she's in charge of all of the nuns that live there and the school programs. And she represents kind of the old guard of Catholicism. And Philip Seymour Hoffman tries to is a plays a priest who becomes really loved by his community, has great relationships with everyone in the community. He is trying to bring in more of a kind of a contemporary outlook to how they interact with their community. And so there's like this conflict, like the old guard and the new guard between the two, this hierarchy struggle. But then also Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, he also is suspected by Meryl Streep's character of very inappropriate behavior with one of the altar boys. And there's like this struggle between the two and an incredible conflict, and it's pure fireworks. Like, it's just an incredible movie. And the thing is that's sometimes hard to watch about this movie is because of the obvious reality of what the Catholic Church has done to children and all of the monstrous things they've done to families and people. So it's, I did a review on a documentary about this very subject, and it's the most scandalous, the most horrific thing you can imagine. And so it's hard. It's interesting watching this movie in that context, in this framework. But this film, I think, is a little bit more. It has a different angle. It's not really. It's more about how someone can be destroyed with just accusations. Where there isn't really any proof, and it's more about the mindset of where you've kind of already convicted this person, even though there are no other substantial things to support that view and the struggle around that. But just an incredible movie. This movie is, I really think this movie is a masterpiece. The other thing, even though it is a dark film with dealing with a dark subject, the ironic thing is I forgot that this movie takes place during Christmas time. So there is, I wouldn't, it might be a stretch to call this a Christmas film, but it takes place like more or less the time frame of this film takes place the week of Christmas, leading up to Christmas Eve and the holidays, kind of where we are right now. And totally forgot about that for some reason, even though I've seen this movie a bunch of times. But just an incredible film. I never hear this movie talked about. These actors, of course, have just a an amazing track record of films that they have done. And this is, just testimony to when the stars really aligned. When, or testimony or a primetime example of when the stars really align, as far as where you have an incredible director at the helm of the ship, a superbly written script that's super tight and dynamic. Roger Deakins also is the cinematographer for this film. And Roger Deakins is, one of the most incredible cinematographers in the world. He's won numerous Academy Awards. He's worked with the Coen brothers, Denis Villeneuve. I mean, you name it. He's just an incredible, masterful cinematographer. He shot this movie, and you can tell. I mean, every frame of this movie, the lighting, it's just all the camera angles is just it's just gorgeous. But I really think that this movie is pretty much a masterpiece. And it does go back to that thing of where I've said, well, at the end of the day, it's essentially a group of actors in a room, and it's a very small cast talking, and that's all it is. And it's how intense this movie gets, and how just it's such a riveting experience with the exchange of these characters. At its core, it just shows like what true craftsmanship can do. You can essentially have these bombs going off, but it's all through dialogue. And amazing direction. And it's an incredible movie. It really is. So I can't recommend this movie enough. I think it's great. Technically, yes, it's a Christmas movie, but that might be a weird stretch. I don't know. It's not a very cheerful movie, but it's a poignant movie. It's an important movie, but it's such a great display of acting power that is, it's just a powerhouse. There's powerhouse performances all around. Each character in this film is so kind of complicated, and there's so many little subtle nuances to each character, and you get glimpses of it throughout the movie. And to me, that is, testimony to the kind of the legendary across the board, the legendary performances that are on display here. Just incredible. Some of the best actors in the world, for me, it's an example of that, but at the top of their game, in their prime. And I'm glad I bought this on Blu-ray. It's definitely, even though, like, again, like I said, most of the time buying something that is more, say, action driven, or like a big sci-fi, big horror film kind of a thing is more obvious, or action movie, that's obviously more, typically way more exciting to see on Blu-ray. But this film is so beautifully shot. I noticed a huge difference in the quality of the sound. It's got a beautiful score to it. The the incredible cinematography by Roger Deakins. It's gorgeous. It looks amazing for me. So I've seen this movie a lot on DVD, and it's a tremendous upgrade. So very very excited I bought this. But yeah, Doubt 2008. Definitely check it out. An incredible film. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.